Be very careful how I read this, because earlier today, not one but two BBC radio presenters made just about the most embarrassing slip you can make on air. Not just getting a minister's name wrong, but turning it into a highly offensive four-letter word. Culture Secretary Jeremy Hunt took it all in good spirit, and the BBC said both presenters had apologised for any offence caused. But not even MPs were immune from the four-letter gaffe today, as Katie Razzle reports.
Who is the odd one out? Dr. Spooner may be renowned for getting his tongue in a tangle, but today it was two broadcasters and an MP who were caught out and ended up using the most offensive word in the English language. The first, Today programme presenter James Naughtie, as he only got the Culture Secretary's surname right after first getting it terribly wrong.
What's happening in the course of the next hour? Well, first up after the news, we're going to be talking to Jeremy Hunt, the Culture Secretary, about broadband.
Mr. Naughtie then struggled to read the headlines.
It's 8 o'clock on Monday, the 6th of December. American officials have condemned WikiLeaks after the website published a list of hundreds of facilities said to be vital for American security. Every community in Britain has been promised that it'll have access to the fastest broadband networks within 5 years. Excuse me, and Egypt has called in international shark experts to investigate a series of attacks in the Red Sea. Pardon me, coughing fit.
One listener said it was the Prime Minister's fault for making Jeremy Hunt Culture Secretary. The repeat vowel sound in Hunt and Culture making the slip almost inevitable.
We find a word, and we find a word that rhymes with it, and it goes through our consciousness, and we hear somebody say it, and then we think, well, that's fine. I don't think that. I don't want to say that. I've no intention of saying that. And then just at what is obviously very, very much the wrong moment, out it pops.
Mr. Hunt, launching his broadband vision today, took it all in his stride, writing on the social networking site Twitter.
They say prepare for anything before going on today, but that took the biscuit. I was laughing as much as you, Jim, or should I say Dr. Spooner.
Spooner, of course, an Oxford don and king of word muddling. His linguistic mishap cited by Mr. Naughtie in one of his two on-air apologies.
I'm afraid many of you will have noticed that I landed in one of those awful verbal tangles just before 8 o'clock. Courtesy, I should say, of Dr. Spooner.
That could have been the end of the matter. But instead, a word that's still one of the last taboos for many was repeated by Andrew Marr just an hour later on Radio 4's Start the Week.
Jeremy, the Culture Secretary, had his name Freudianly transposed. Right. I should apologise already for saying it again, but it's just it's very hard to talk about it without saying it.
After the on-air apologies, the BBC also apologised for any offence caused by what it termed their verbal tangles on air. Wits quipped the station had had a bout of radio Tourette's, a reference to Tourette's, the illness which can lead sufferers to spout obscenities. Both Today and Start the Week were offline for most of the day as the offending sections were removed. The BBC said just 16 people had complained by lunchtime. For a while, though, the episode became the most discussed Twitter topic in the UK. And it appeared contagious. In Parliament this afternoon, when trying to talk about cuts, the policing minister, Nick Herbert, first added an ill-judged N.
Well, I don't accept that those are cuts to frontline policing. And the Honourable Lady said that they were cuts to police staff.
Order! Opposition members' hearing is playing tricks with them. They didn't hear what they thought they heard.
So what drove these men to blunder? Genuine slips of the tongue, or a subconscious desire in all of us to say the unsayable? Whatever, Reverend Spooner would have blushed at today's mistakes. His Spoonerisms, like it is customary to cuss the bride, appear innocent in comparison.
Katie Razzle, Spooner or Freud? Tonight's main news, heavy